All right, once again, back with another ARC book review, and this time it is A Vile Season by David Ferraro. This is marketed as kind of like a Bridgerton meet Bachelor with a vampire kind of supernatural vibe going on with it, and I think the marketing is spot on with this book. So in this book, we follow Lucian. It is all through his perspective, and he is a centuries-old vampire. Now, in the beginning of the book, he is attacked in his kind of castle by a group of human vampire hunters. And just when it seems like things aren't going to go his way and it may be the end of Dear Lucian, he suddenly wakes up in his crypt, except for twist, he is now human. And a vampire god has basically turned him human and has tasked Lucian with infiltrating this contest for a duke's hand in marriage. And the whole purpose is for Lucian to infiltrate this contest and find out who the human vampire hunters are and take them down. And Lucian readily agrees. You know, he doesn't want to stay human. The deal is if he can do this, he will not only go back to being a vampire, but he will be more powerful than he ever was before. Obviously, the flip side is if he fails, he is the god's plaything, and the god will torture him forever and ever. So Lucian, obviously a little bit cocky, is like, you know what? Not only am I going to infiltrate this duke's contest and find these hunters, I'm going to make the duke fall in love with me and marry me. So we do get introduced to a ton of side characters in this book, but I will tell you, they're all really fully fleshed out. I loved every single one of them. They all had their own little history, backstories, personalities. Lucian, you know, obviously is going into this contest for Ambrose. That's the name of the Duke. Ambrose is a little cocky, a little, full of himself. He thinks, he's the most amazing thing in the world. And he has two younger brothers. One is Maxwell, who we get to, meet. And Lucian kind of has an instant connection with Maxwell, but obviously he pushes that aside because his whole purpose is Ambrose. But outside of this contest, there is also this little bit of a mystery, is that the one brother, Emmett, has disappeared. No one really knows where he went. Both of the brothers are really concerned. Their parents are really concerned. They want to figure out where Emmett went, but also hide the fact that Emmett is missing. So Lucian kind of gets embroiled in that. But as this contest kind of goes on, there is another little bit of a roadblock for dear Lucian, and that is that he is starting to feel humanity again. He's starting to feel human emotions like guilt and love and friendship, and these are emotions that he has not had to deal with in centuries. So he's very much struggling with how to kind of keep to his task while ignoring all of these emotions that are suddenly bubbling up. The contest itself was actually really fun. I wasn't really sure what I'd feel about like a courtship contest. But I think David Ferraro did a really good job with it. It wasn't like your typical courtship contest. Like, obviously there were normal things like, the first night of dancing, and, there was also, a playing of instruments, in front of the crowd, but we had a little bit more of a supernatural twist. So one of the contest, things that they had to do was they had to go into the woods and hunt ghouls. So I liked that we kept kind of still to like more of that like typical courtship of the time period, but we added that like nice little supernatural twist. Obviously, again, because we have Lucian as a vampire, there are more vampires that pop up. There's a lot of feelings and thoughts about vampires from the humans that Lucian kind of has to deal with. We see a vampire from Lucian's past kind of keep popping up, which I really loved her. Her name is Raven. I think she's a very interesting character, and I loved her interactions with Lucian when they did interact. I think she's a really good catalyst to him. But there's just a lot of like little things that are happening in the book, but it's not overwhelming. This is not a book where you have so many plot lines that you're getting lost. They all really are cohesive and kind of go together towards the end. Now let's talk about the ending of this book, because it gets suspenseful towards the end. Definitely starts getting a little crazy towards the end. I could not put the book down at a certain point because I was like, I have to, there's just so much going on. I gotta finish the book at this point. It does end beautifully. It ends with a happily ever after, but it does get crazy suspenseful at a certain point where you're not sure who is friend, who is foe, who's going to live, who's going to die. It's absolutely perfect and does again close up all of those plot lines really cohesively. All of our side characters get their happily ever afters, so it's a very beautiful end to the book. So this is the perfect time of year for this book, in my opinion. It is spooky, it is gothic, but we've got beautiful amounts of wit and humor and banter amongst all the characters with some good sprinkling of angst. It definitely, like I said, is marketed perfectly. It is very much a Bridgerton meets Bachelor, but add in some supernatural vibes. I think it was absolutely perfectly marketed with that. I had so much fun reading this book. I love David Ferraro. I've read his other books before and have absolutely loved them. So I was really excited to get this arc. This book, A Vile Season, does come out on Tuesday, October 22nd. Like I said, I think this is the perfect book for this time of the year. It's a nice little spooky Halloween, Spooktober, if you want, type of book to read. So definitely hope you guys check it out and you enjoy it just as much as I did.